Donald Trump's presidency was a wild ride. He was loud, brash, and always tweeting. Some people loved him, others, not so much. But one thing was for sure, Trump wasn't afraid to shake things up. Let's be real, Trump's presidency was a roller coaster. But even with all the drama, there were some bright spots, especially when it came to criminal justice reform. Trump surprised a lot of people by signing the First Step Act into law. This bipartisan bill was a big deal. It aimed to fix some of the unfair sentencing laws that had put so many Black Americans behind bars. The First Step Act helped reduce ridiculously long prison sentences, gave judges more flexibility in certain cases, and focused on rehabilitating prisoners so they could turn their lives around. Trump also talked a big game about revitalizing struggling communities. He created something called Opportunity Zones. These zones were designed to encourage investment in poor, often predominantly Black neighborhoods. The idea was to bring in businesses, create jobs, and give these communities a much-needed boost. And let's not forget about historically Black colleges and universities, or HBCUs. Trump increased their funding and promised to make sure these vital institutions got the support they needed.
Believe it or not, some prominent Black leaders actually supported him. Take me, for example. I'm Dr. Alveda King, the niece of Martin Luther King Jr. I was a vocal Trump supporter. I praised his stance on issues like abortion and religious freedom. I believe Trump genuinely wanted to improve the lives of Black Americans.
I'm Pastor Daryl Scott, and I became one of Trump's closest advisors. I defended Trump against accusations of racism, saying he was one of the most pro-Black presidents in history. I pointed to Trump's willingness to meet with Black leaders and address their concerns.
And who could forget my infamous visit to the Oval Office? Yeah, that happened. I'm Kanye West, a self-proclaimed free thinker. I wasn't afraid to go against the grain. I praised Trump's economic policies and said I admired his boldness.
Even I came out swinging for Trump. I'm Herschel Walker, a former NFL star and a longtime friend of Trump. I called him a good man who had always treated me with respect.
Now, not everyone in the Black community was throwing shade at Trump. Some, like Dr. Alveda King, Pastor Daryl Scott, Kanye West, and Herschel Walker, found reasons to support him, each in their own way. Okay, let's keep it 100. Not everyone was on board with the whole Trump loves Black people narrative. In fact, a lot of people called BS on that. Trump's critics were quick to point out his history of controversial statements and actions. Remember when he told those congresswomen of color to go back to where they came from? Yeah, not a good look. And his response to the white supremacist rally in Charlottesville? Many people felt he was way too slow to condemn the racists and neo-Nazis. Trump also caught heat for his policies on immigration and healthcare, which some argued disproportionately harmed Black and brown communities. Let's just say there was a lot of skepticism about Trump's commitment to racial equality. Despite all the drama, some Black pastors saw something different in Trump. They believed he was an instrument of God, sent to shake things up and bring about change. These pastors often pointed to Trump's strong stance against abortion and his support for religious freedom. They saw him as a defender of their values in a world that seemed to be losing its way.
These faith leaders acknowledged Trump's flaws, but they believed his heart was in the right place. They urged their congregations to look beyond the headlines and see the good they believed Trump was doing for Black Americans. Their support for Trump often sparked heated debate within the Black community, but these pastors stood their ground, convinced that Trump was part of a bigger plan.
So what's the verdict on Trump and Black America? Well, it's complicated. There's no easy answer. On the one hand, Trump did do some things that seemed to benefit Black communities. The First Step Act was a step in the right direction. And Opportunity Zones, while not a perfect solution, showed a willingness to address economic inequality. But then there were the tweets, the comments, and the policies that left many Black Americans feeling marginalized and disrespected. Trump's relationship with Black America was a roller coaster ride of highs and lows. leaving behind a legacy that's both complex and controversial. It's a conversation that's sure to continue long after Trump has left the Oval Office.